Hello and happy Friday. There's our turkey that you just saw right before this started. He actually got within 10 feet of me, if less than that. I mean, he was coming right at me. But turkeys can go after people, and I'm not in running shoes. Welcome! My name is Kim, also known as Yarning for a Smile, and welcome to Vlogmas. And there's a squirrel. And another turkey. There's more coming. I'm just going to flip around the camera for a second slowly. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Oh, who could it be? Whoa. Hopefully the turkey and the squirrels will leave us along the rest of this Vlogmas episode, and we can open up some advents and have a little chat. So today we are at the spot where I tried to open the Jimmy Bean's advent calendar for the first time and found out it was an actual advent calendar and not a box of yarn and patterns. Lesson learned. So let's look at the Jimmy Bean's Craftvent first, since this is where it all started. Day 9. Oh, well, that's odd. Day 9 is 2 hard things. I'm guessing they're chocolates. It says, Bryn Chocolates of Vermont have spent over 100 years perfecting their truffle recipes. We choose both milk and dark chocolate for this kit and hope you enjoy them as much as we do. Look for Bryn Chocolates wherever fine truffles are sold. Team Beans! See? It's exactly what it says, with the same excitement and enthusiasm. And they're Christmas colors wrappers. Yum, yum, yum. I'm actually so full from lunch because my husband brought home Korean again. We have like this really great Korean little place. It's a small family-owned place, and they only make plates on Fridays and Saturdays. So we try to buy from them often because they're just so really like amazing and nice family, and it is so good. So continuing on with the yarn Craftvent marathon, we're going to go ahead and look at Emma's yarn next because it's one of those that I accidentally opened last year early before I was just like, eh. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you probably need to check Vlogmas Day 1, which can be seen here. Anywho, this lovely skein was Day 9. And since I didn't bother with rewrapping it, here it is. But it's this really pretty lime green with white and purples and blues and like some teal colors. It's fun, 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 and super pretty. And speaking of minis, if you have not checked out my blog post I made yet, it's on my website that is viewable. So you just need to click down below where all the little links to this video are located and go check it out. I forgot how many patterns, both knit and crochet, I put on there that are perfect uses for your mini skeins and advent calendars, and even leftover yarns if you don't have an advent calendar, because you can still have like an advent with just your leftovers and still get some pretty projects from them. So now let's look at Molly's, which Day 9 has a golden tree and a number 9. I realize the wrinkly is so loud, and I do try to edit most of it out, so I apologize if some of that gets you. And I just want to say that I love having positive and negative feedback on my channel. So if you're ever watching one of my videos and you're like, hey, I think she should do this, leave a comment below, or you can message me through any of my social media or shoot me an email, which all that again is always in the description box of the videos. and let me know your ideas and your thoughts, because my channel is about community. And if I don't know what the community wants, I can't make it for the community. So I need you to be working with me on that one so I can build a channel that you're going to enjoy coming to and checking out, and that I feel comfortable knowing that it's something that you are enjoying and that it is bringing you joy. That's a lot of joy. But just note, I did actually have a criticism on a previous video, and I took note of that and implemented a change in my last night vlogmas. So I hope that is better for the viewer, and I apologize, but I cannot think of your name right now as I am recording this. I'm so sorry. It is not intentional. I am just really horrible with names, like the worst. The worst. Molly's yarn. Oh, that's pretty. This is pretty. I'm not a pink and red person, typically. But I've noticed that as I've gotten older, I'm more acceptable of pinks and reds. But this is really pretty. This reminds me of kind of like a homemade strawberry ice cream. I don't know why all the yarns remind me of food. I think that speaks to my character and like my crazy. But it's really pretty. So it's kind of like a peachish pink base with some orangey reds, coral reds. Would that be the correct terminology? It's very pretty though. Her yarn is very, very soft. So now let's look at the gems and jellies. Day 9. And it says, warmest thoughts. I think the turkeys are taking a long way around, so they don't have to come by me. I'm glad. Okay. Orange marmalade spread. Yummy. Look how pretty that is, that color. Oh. See the little bits of fruit in here. These things are so delightful. And I love that they come in glass jars that I can reuse for crafts. I think that's my favorite thing about this calendar, and why we have done it every year since we've discovered it. I mean, who doesn't love little cute glass mason jars for storage? Especially when you have a slight addiction to stitch markers and making them. As for the David's Tea Craftvent, see what we have. Oh, nothing fell out. That's Christmas right there. That's a Christmas miracle. Something smells good. I just caught a whiff of it. I don't know what it is, which is amazing because I haven't been able to smell in like 4 days. Not that I have COVID. I just have allergies. Like, again, today it's 70s. And that just, pollen and bad. Pollen's bad. 9. Raspberry leaf. This stuff is really good too. I think this is the one I like to make as a cold tea on ice. Got raspberry lemon. Soothing raspberry and lemon. Raspberry lemon bliss is the actual name. Let me get that right. Yeah, this is the one I've had before. Caffeine free. Although I do like to drink a lot of my teas hot just because a lot of them are caffeine free. And after a certain time, I cut myself off from caffeine or I don't sleep because I'm quite the insomniac as it is. And I can still drink something warm and I feel like I'm drinking something with caffeine like coffee, but it's not. And that's a good thing. Great value advent calendar. Who shall be the reigning champ today, my friends? Who shall it be? Ooh, where are you? Number 9. 9. You would think I slept really good last night, but I woke up 3 times and got up at 5 a.m. So I think I'm just delirious at this point. Winter blend ground coffee. I'm telling you, great value is where it's at. They are really doing a winter advent calendar because all their flavors have been pretty much winter themed. Winter berry, winter blend ground coffee. Know what I'm having when I'm going back inside? Keurig. I so wanted this to be perfect because it's so pretty on the inside, but it's just really let me down. And my husband's getting all the coffee rejects. He's like, let me have that one. I'm like, no, you can have the reject of the day. So he's my reject coffee drinker. Day 9. Okay, so I understand that they are trying to sell their brands that they carry under Keurig name. But I know a lot of these brands have holiday blends or themes. This is Panera Bread Colombian coffee. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Panera Bread. I love the Greek goddess or green Greek goddess, whatever kind of green goddess salad that thing is. It's delicioso, in the words of Dora the Explorer. But if I'm drinking from a holiday coffee, that's not holiday. That's just hey, here's some coffee. If I was buying a 24 random pack, try it before you buy it, I would expect to see Panera Bread. Not in my holiday advent calendar. They're really letting me down. So again, I think I'm going to have to give that to great value. What do you guys think? I don't know. I think they're so far superior. And at $5 cheaper for the same amount of K-Cups, you're getting such a better deal next year. Or even as soon as those little bad boys go on sale at Walmart, I'm probably going to buy as many as I see because the coffees are so good. I need to start looking for that. You may know a little bit of video quality change, and that's because I realized I was not shooting in 4K. And I like to shoot in 4K because I have the capability of it. And when I upload into 4K, it gives you the best viewing quality possible, even though you may not have 4K capabilities. So the first of that may not be as great of quality as this going forward, and I apologize. But I did want to show you, I did manage to get my little tile from last week off the blocking boards. Yay! We should have a round of applause for that because, it's been a minute. And I must say, it came out very cute. The black yarn was, I think, the perfect color for what I wanted it for. But I worked on this during my son's appointment on Monday. And that room could be seen in that day's advent. And it looks a lot brighter than it is because I had to move to the other side of the room because all they had was one lamp on in that room. And it was a completely gray, rainy day. And I'm talking I don't have to wear glasses. But I was like this, trying to see the stitches because it was so dark in there. And this lady walked in and she just kind of cut her eyes and looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, I'm not crazy. I just want to see my stitches because they're small and black little stitches. So I moved over by the window, which really made her look at me more. Like, why is this nutbag moving across the room? But I was able to finish it up. So the black is some Lewitt gems, as well as the red. And this multicolor awesome sauce is hedgehog fibers. And this was some leftover yarn from, it's either my Stephen West shawl from last year or another shawl I did called Moon Pie. I'll figure it out, and I'll just go ahead and link both shawls below, and I'll probably add a photo right here as I'm talking of whichever one this yarn came from, because you can't really see the yarn for all of its glory in this little bitty tile, but it's pretty. So this is actually the front of my wee tile, and this is the back. And honestly, the back is just as pretty as the front. I mean, granted, your little single crochet stitches along the top don't look as nice, but they're still pretty. And I do see one little end I forgot to snip. Right there. Right there. See it? But as far as blocking, this is my blocking trick. I've, by the way, knock on something, never had any ends come unwoven at all. But I have a technique. So, I always catch my umbrellas of the stitch and my valleys of the stitch. Umbrellas and valleys. So I'll go umbrella, valley, and then I'll come back and go the opposite way, so it makes a figure 8. Then I always leave at least an inch tail before I even block. And the reason is, if it's a natural fiber like wool or alpaca, when you go to block that and it goes to stretch and your stitches relax, that's the whole purpose of blocking anyways, is to get those stitches relaxed. That yarn is going to work its way back in. So if you cut it so short, then it's going to be sticking out some. But if you leave just a little bit, when you get done blocking, it's probably going to absorb most of that anyways. And then you just have like little bitty pieces, like that little nugget hanging off to trim, and you know it's not going to come out, because even if I wet this again, I'm probably not going to make it go any bigger stretching it, and it's not going to come out if I don't stretch it as aggressively, so it's going to be in there to stay. It also makes it super hard to see your ends, because again, this is the back, and you really cannot see where my ends are, because I try to mimic the stitches. So that is my blocking information for today. And I like it. And someone asked me what I'm going to do with my tiles. Currently, I am actually pinning them to the lamp in my bedroom that is actually a clear vase, and it has my first advent calendar mini skeins in it. So my first advent calendar was a yarn advent calendar. Was a yarn advent from Opal Yarns, and they're like these little bee skeins of multicolored yarns. You probably saw it in one of my videos when I showed the Calyx bookcase that I had cleaned up. And I may actually try to form those and connect them and make like an exterior shade to go around that with some of my tiles, because right now I'm just literally pinning it to them, and at night when that's turned on, it looks really pretty. So who knows. Also, I thought I would show my progress what little progress there is on my Jamie Bean's Craftvent ornaments, which I plan on exclusively working this weekend, as well as a tile. I have a lot to get undone because I'm a tile behind now. Ah! So this is out of that day 2 tweed Malintosh light in the color Tart. And as I'm working this, like, I'm kind of seeing the tweed, but honestly, this is not very tweedy. Again, it's just like little bloopy. But I have some ribbing going on, and the tweed actually makes the ribbing do weird things. I noticed, because the tweed is kind of just woven into the fibers, and so it makes your ribbing like not as neat. That will actually correct itself though when I block. And a way you can manipulate that is just kind of pulling it lengthwise and vertical wise and helping those stitches kind of line up better. I am knitting my ornaments on different needles. So the patterns call for a 2.0, which is a US 2 millimeter. That is way too loose for me. I always go down at least one needle size. But for ornaments, honestly, I love my collage square DPNs is what these are, and they are square needles. And typically I knit with 3 and with 1 working needle, but I love square needles because they're easy to grab, and even though these are metal and super slick, the stitches don't slide out off of them as easy. The collage do have a decent point. I would say it's comparable to a chai gu. They're not as sharp as my Hiya sharps. And yes, I do think Hiya sharps are a little bit sharper than chai gu. I'm sorry, don't come at me. I do. I actually prefer those over the tips of my chai gu, and I prefer the slickness of the needle over the chai gu, because to me, chai gu metal needles, they're slick, but they're still a little bit grabby. Where my Hiya sharps are like melted butter wrapped in avocado oil with a little bit of coconut oil thrown in. I mean, they are like smooth as silk. My other favorite needles as far as tips would be Signature convertibles, but I'm not a huge fan of their spaghetti noodle lampy cables because the cables are so grabby, like so grabby. And it's so crazy to have such a slick and fabulous needle with a slow cable. If I could have my perfect needle, it would be probably a cord of a Hiya or an Addy cord. I kind of like them too. Hiya I tend to like better, with a actual needle of a Signature. But Hiya sharps are also really great. I mean, honestly, as many needle sets as I have, and I have a lot, I typically grab my Hiya sharps first above anything else. True story. But that's part of my Craftvent. It's coming to fruition. It's gonna be a hat, I think. So I know it's gonna be a hat. I'm actually on the part now where I was start the color work, and it's supposed to be a double brim little hat. And I'm following the pattern as is. Going forward, or if you are making this and haven't started yet, what I would probably do is halfway through this ribbing, I really don't know how it's going to play out yet, so I don't know if I'm going to be making this big hat and then folding this all the way up. But if not, if I'm just supposed to fold this in half, halfway through, I would actually do a purl row. And what that's going to do is when you go to fold up that brim, it's going to allow it to lay a little bit neater and have like a little detail going around. And that's probably what, if I had actually read through the whole pattern, like if you ask me, I'm going to tell you, you should always read the pattern all the way first before starting your project. However, if I'd actually done that, and if I don't have the pattern with me, so I don't know, and I saw that this was just going to fold up in half, then that's what I would have done. But this may actually fold all the way up. I don't know. I'm trying not to read through the pattern so I can kind of keep the Advent thing, and I haven't been like seeking the hashtag out on the interwebs, so I don't know for sure.